that my dad was a World War II combat veteran, served with the 1st Cavalry. He would tell me, he wouldn't, again, my father didn't talk to me as much as I overheard him when him and his friends were talking and they were telling stories and stuff. And that's when I found out my father was with the 1st Cav in New Guinea, and he had trained in Australia. But then they were taking people for the airborne. You see, and if you join airborne, you got $10 more a month, and you got to blouse your boots, which made you look really cool. You had these jump boots, and your boots blouse. And so my father and his friends would tell these stories, and one specific story that I remember, and that's part of, when you grow up and you hear these things, it influences you to think to yourself, hey, man, that sounds cool. That's what I want to do. I want to go, to war. I want to join the military. Well, one time we were watching the movie The Sands of Iwo Jima, and my father he had really been drinking, and when my father got really drunk, he'd go, wait a minute. And he was in that area, but all of a sudden he stopped and he was watching the movie, and there was this one scene where they're all sitting around and they got some guy out in the bush and he's asking for help, and they're saying there might be a trap, stay right here. And there was bodies all over. My father said, the smell. He said, you just can't imagine the smell of death. And as he was watching it, I saw these tears run down my father's face, and I thought to myself, man, you know what? Someday I'm going to join the military, and I'm going to be an airborne. That's what I want to do. I want to join airborne. And in fact, when I went to all of these movies during that period of time, Combat, Vic Morrow, it just kind of made you. I even remembered some of the bars that my father would go to, and we would hang out in there. They had these games that you would play, and one of them was where you were like a gunner in a plane, and these MiGs would come up behind you, and that was the way it was. And the movie Born on the 4th of July, when it starts and they're all out there playing war and throwing, my friends and I all did those kinds of things. We played war, we thought it was so cool. So I had no political ideas or awareness whatsoever. I was a dumb little kid, poor kid, who was afraid of what life held for me. And I saw the military as one of the few options that I had that might get me further than being homeless or something else. So that's why I always thought to myself, one day I'm gonna join the military. I didn't know. My father said, we were watching the protests on TV, and my father said, they should do like they do in Mexico. They should bring out the machine guns and just mow them down. If they don't like America, then they should leave America. Love it or leave it. This is the best country in the world. And I thought at that time, yeah, he's right. Well, Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. That struck me in a way that said, you know what? I want to do something for my country. I was truly a blind patriot. I had no idea why we were in Vietnam. I truly thought that we were there to save the people and to, because these terrible things were happening to these people by these other terrible people. But I didn't know what was really going on there in Vietnam. It was 1967, and some of the protest was going on, and one of my true heroes was Muhammad Ali. I'll never forget when Muhammad Ali said, he refused to join the military, and then he said, "No Vietnamese has ever called me a nigger."